At the bottom we'll put 6 inches of gravel, and then we'll put 3.5 feet of concrete. These panels are very nice to work with. They work in connection with these posts, and I don't know if you can see it, but oh yes you can. There's the holes are already in the posts. Now you've got corner posts and you've got inline posts. This is an inline post, so it has holes on both sides. Corner post would have a hole here and hole here and a hole on the side, obviously. And these panels will just slip right into those, and then that's secured by putting in the next post. The other nice thing about this fence, these fence panels, is if you are installing them on a hill, you don't want to have your balusters going on an angle there. But what you can do is, so they just slip like this, and making it for a perfect installation. Anyway, we're going to get started here. I've got a few things I've got to go pick up at the lumber store in order to prepare this. We're going to run a string, make sure we're good and straight. I'm going to be connecting it to the end of this wooden fence and going out to the road. Another thing that I want to mention too is that because we're on a corner lot here, there are bylaws as far as the height of the fence. I believe within our municipality, once you get 9 meters away from the edge of the property, you can only have the fence 30 inches high. And obviously a 30-inch fence is not going to do anything for you as far as security or privacy or what. And the idea behind this is to actually prevent people or deter people from taking a shortcut across our lawn to go down the other street. And hopefully this works, and hopefully it doesn't get damaged, but it seems to be a very good product, very strong, very rigid, and I don't think it's going to be easily damaged. The other nice thing about this is, well, what I had to do was I had to go get a bylaw variance, a minor variance, which cost about $500 to do that. And I also ran the risk that they wouldn't approve it, which I would have lost that $500. Anyway, because this fence is basically transparent and it is 4.5 feet tall, the appearance is much nicer than a chain link fence. It's pretty much transparent because you can see through it, so it's not going to obstruct the traffic on either corner, and it's just going to look nice, and that's what we're aiming for. And the other thing too is the shape of it. With these squares here, kind of match up with the private or the wooden fence that we've put up in place already. So, with having said all that, I've got a few things I've got to do. I've got to go to the lumber yard and just get a few other things, because I'm going to want to make sure that when I install the fence off the end of this one, I want it to be straight and parallel with this here original fence. And I want to make sure it's level, and because I think those little details, if they're not done properly, will make your fence look like a poor quality fence. So having said that, let's get at her. Okay, one of the first things you're going to want to make sure you do before you dig is to have ground locates. You want to locate the utilities in the ground before you go and dig. You certainly don't want to dig into any hydro lines nor gas lines. But here in Ontario, we have Ontario One Call. You call them and they'll make arrangements to have all the utilities and all the services marked out for you and make sure it's safe to dig. Along that edge of the property, I actually have some buried hydro cables. There is a water main, and from the telephone pole going over across the front of the property is a gas line. Luckily, we're at least a meter to 3 feet away from those hydro cables underground, and we will end up probably a meter or a meter and a half this side of the gas line, so I should be good to go without hitting any utilities, and that brings good peace of mind and looks out for my safety. So remember, call before you dig. What we're going to be doing to dig the holes, I'm using this tow behind post hole digger. I rented it from our local big box store, and it looks like it's a good unit. Before I brought it home, it was tested, it was checked out by the store clerk, and everything seemed to be in order. The auger will attach to this shaft, and this pin will come out of here. Let's do this. There we go. And pull this pin out. And this allows for the hydraulic drive to turn the auger here. And with the weight of the auger on there, it'll be a little bit easier to force down. But you bring that down until you're at your proper depth and bring it back in. Being the weight of the motor on that end counterbalances, makes it a lot easier to run. It can be worked with one person, and if you're like me, typically most of the jobs you do are by yourself or with the help of your wife. And I have to say, my wife is absolutely fantastic, and she'll help me whatever way she can. The other thing that we've got is these bags of concrete over in the utility trailer here. And I've got 10 poles, 9 posts that will be going in the ground. And I was told, always, rule of thumb is 2 bags per post. But I did some rough calculations myself, and I'm thinking it's just over a bag. One bag will hold in and around half a cubic foot. So a 6-inch hole, and I'm looking at going at 42 inches of concrete, is going to take about 0.6 plus or minus a little bit cubic feet of concrete. So, but I went ahead anyway, and just in case, I bought 2 bags per post, so I've got 18 bags of concrete. The 6 inches of gravel, and I went with this pea stone, and it's a quick pea stone, which is separated. But I just got 5 bags of that, because I don't think it's going to take more than a half a bag per hole. That's without doing any calculations. But regardless, it's not real critical. As long as you have 4 to 6 inches at the bottom of your hole, that should be plenty. That allows for drainage, and also prevent, and if it's drainage, that water up below there won't freeze and force your concrete up, causing your post to heave. Now, one of my concerns is, with these posts, you have holes here. This is the end post or whatever. But anyway, with the holes in there, water can penetrate those holes. And with the bottom of this pole being embedded in concrete, it could actually fill up with water. So essentially, you can have 2 feet of water in there or so, with nowhere to go. My concern, and I've searched the internet and searched YouTube, and even with the manufacturer of this product, they don't mention anything about the possibility of water being in there and freezing. And my concern is that if it is in there and it freezes, and we get cold temperatures here in Sault Ste. Marie, this tube can expand, causing damage. And I'm concerned that from this hole down, it can actually blow out and round this square tubing out. So what I've come up with, and not everybody may agree, but I think it's a good plan, is I've filled, and I'll hopefully you see that, I've filled the bottom of this, or the inside of the square tubing, with pipe insulation, and I filled it right up to that hole. Therefore, it's going to take up a lot of the volume inside here. It's closed cell membrane that, or foam, that won't absorb water. Now, if there is water in there and it freezes and expands, it's going to want to expand in all directions. However, the foam, which hasn't absorbed any of the water, can compress. And it's a lot softer than the outside of the aluminum. Therefore, the foam will compress, leaving the outside intact, and I believe it'll save the fence. So I'm not sure if it's going to work. I hope so. It's certainly not going to hurt because it's not affecting anything in here. So that's my particular tip for this product. I'm going to do it, and hopefully it works. Thank you. This is the foam insulation, or pipe insulation, that I used. I couldn't fit it inside the pipe just the way it was, so I had my wife, who wanted to help, slice off this, which allows me to get it down to an easy size that'll slide inside those posts. As I mentioned, I have a few more things I have to do to prepare in order to get this job done. Excuse me. Got to run to the hardware store. I got to pick up some string to make sure I got that straight, and some ground paint to mark the holes off before I go and do any drilling. With that, we'll see you soon. Okay, we're getting ready here to start marking off our holes, and we want to know what the distance is going to be between each of the holes. The way the manufacturer suggests is you take the width of one post and add it to the distance between this notch and this notch, and it will give you your center to center dimensions. So in our case, this, and I'm going to use metric, but I'll give you the inches as well. It's 5 centimeters or 2 inches. The distance between that notch and the far one is 180 centimeters, or 70 7/8 inches. So you can see using imperial is going to be a little bit more difficult to calculate it, but using the metric system, using that 180 and the 5 is 185. So therefore it's going to be a lot easier for me to go and calculate 185 centimeters spacing on that using that long tape measure. Okay, we'll get ready to do that now. See you then. Okay, I'm back through the magic of YouTube. I was only gone for a second, when in reality it took me about 45 minutes. Anyway, let's go over some of the tools we're going to need in order to complete this job. One of the first things you're going to need is a good level. You want those posts to be straight up and down. Secondly, you're going to need a wooden block and a mallet. You're going to be using this to put on the wood, and you can tap the post down, pull the post up, whatever you need. This way you won't damage it, and you've got everything at your disposal. Another thing that's it's not necessary, but will be a great help when you're digging your holes, is you want an inverted marking paint. You can, this can will spray straight up and down, and you can mark the ground where you're going to be working and drilling. Another thing that you're going to want to use is a highly visible string. I'm going to run this from the original fence out to the end or just beyond where the fence is going to go. This is going to ensure that I'm parallel with the existing fence, and I'm going to keep everything on the straight. The other thing you want to do is, this is a Stanley level. This is a line level. This will attach to the string, and I can use this as a level line for the entire distance. That way I can tell, I keep the fence as level as possible, or I can bring it down as I need it to coincide with the level of the ground. I'm going to try to keep the fence all one level. I may not be able to. Hopefully I don't end up with a large gap on one side and nothing on the other. One other tool that is, I think, critical in this is a measuring tape, a large measuring tape. This one here is good for 200 feet. In this particular case, I'm going 9 sections of fence at 6 feet. So I'm going to need at least 54 feet. Not too easy to do with your regular tape measure. It's possible, but this would be more accurate. I'm going to string this out. I'm going to calculate exactly how far the posts need to be apart. And then I will use this. I'll run it along the entire ground, and I will know those measurements. This way I'm not going 6 feet plus 6 feet plus 6 feet, because you can have a little mistake each one, and therefore by the time you get to the end of your run, you could end up being a couple inches out, and you don't want that. Okay, well, I think I've got just about everything prepared. I'm going to get out there and get started on this. See you there. Okay, I'm just about ready to start marking out the holes. I've got the string laid out, which I'll show you in a second, but I'll show you that I calculated all the dimensions of where those holes are going to be, and hopefully you can see that. But I started at 2.5 centimeters because I'm going to be attaching to this post right here, and that post being 5 centimeters, half of that to get my center line is 2.5 centimeters. And I've added 185 centimeters to each of these dimensions. That way, for sure, I know my first post is going to be at 187.5, second 372, so on and so forth, all the way down to, and I've got 9, but I did 10 just to be on the safe side. 9 holes, it's going to be at 1,667.5 centimeters. And the reason why I did the 10th one is just to verify that the 10 times the 185 is 1,850 plus the 2.5. So that's all worked out. I know those numbers are accurate. So here, hopefully we can see this. I might just pull you out of the stand there for a second. Attached it to the post or the peg that I stuck in the ground right here. And now, as you can see, hopefully, that it is perfectly in line with the original fence. And as you can see too, there is that lilac bush there that would have been in my way, and I've had to cut that back. Down here on the ground, hopefully the camera can pick it up, is the gas line, but my post is actually over there, over a meter away. And then the red marks are the hydro. So, let's get marking. Okay, got our machine started. In order to get 4 feet, I got to have that auger in the very last hole there, measuring from the bottom to the top. I should easily get 4 feet. I kind of handle it. get a shovel and figure out what the heck's going on there. I marked this 2x4 at 4 feet. So once I put that down in the hole, I reach that mark. So I'm digging these holes. It's not going as smoothly as I hoped it would. It seems that this machine has got a few design flaws. It works perfectly on a flat hill, but not, or on a flat terrain, but not on a hill, because the wheel's got to move back as it goes down. Unfortunately, if I put it on the other side of the hill, then the auger is way down too long. So the auger's long, and it's heavy. It's not easy for two people or one person to use. It really is a two-man job. But I'm prodding along here, and I've got just 2.5 more holes to do. So hopefully the next time I see you, I'll have all the holes drilled. fence is all in. All the holes were dug. It wasn't an easy task, but I managed to get it all done. It's getting late in the day now. None of the posts have been concreted, and there is only one screw per post, or one on each side of each panel. So anyway, that's holding it in place. It's looking really good. It was super easy to put in place. Unfortunately, I didn't film a whole lot of that, but there's it's so simple that honestly you don't need to see how to do it. Tomorrow, when I put the concrete in, and there's not going to be a whole lot of leveling to do because I've done that already by putting some little blocks in. By not concreting any at the time, it allowed me to adjust the heights more easily while sitting there. And I also discovered that at the end of the fence is the highest part of my ground, which seems unusual. I would have guessed that that would have been the lowest. But that's the way the ball bounces, I guess. So until, well, it'll only be a few seconds for you, but until it'll be morning when I come back out here and I start filling those and straightening those posts up, and that fence will pretty much be finished. All right, we'll see you again in a few seconds. Well, good morning. It's a new day. It's time to start putting the concrete in the hole. I made a funnel here that will allow me to pour the concrete onto here at a higher level. It'll go down, and this is 6 inches at the bottom, which is the width of the holes. So just made out of some scrap wood, and I think it's going to work, hopefully. If not, well, it's was only about 10-15 minutes lost in making that up. So we'll get at her. Okay, where we're at now. So just getting ready to level those poles. What I got all the poles sort of pushed back out of the way. I have the very end one perfectly square and perpendicular. I used the level to make sure that it was that. And now I'm going to go and set the first post. I've got a couple pieces of wood to assist me in keeping that perpendicular once it's, you can see these pieces of wood here. And then I've got the chute pointing down into the hole. And now I'm going to use the string to measure at the beginning here, which you don't see. I'm measuring 7/8 off the post to the string. So if I set that post 7/8 to the string, then I can check the level, make sure it's perpendicular, and start filling it with concrete. Well, we're getting close to the end of this job. We're just got the last post over there to fill the hole with concrete. Then I'm just going to go and make sure that the entire fence is level. Tap it up or down, whatever. And because I put the concrete in dry, I'm able to do that. And once that's all complete, then I'm going to go and just get the garden hose out, wet that concrete down. Also, and I'm going to insert all the screws into the pole. I'll just go over there and I'll show you that. I presently have, as I mentioned earlier, that I put in some screws here already, but there are 2 more to do there, and then another 2 down at the very bottom there. So as you can see, the concrete is right around ground level. It'll compact a little bit more before I'm finished there. It's just below. And there I'm just below. And I'm just about at the very last one. Just going to fill that up. So I'm going to set you up in the tripod and let you watch me do the last one. I'm going to be right in your way. So we'll take a look, set you up over here. There, how's that? That should be a little bit better. Okay, well, I got that all set up now. Now I'm going to go and level everything. I'll set you up down here. Actually, we'll take a look at setting up over here. I got to shut you off for just a sec. Originally I said that I'd be using a mallet and this block of wood to set the height, but they seem to be moving fairly easily, so I'm going to just try with my regular claw hammer for right now, just so I get a little bit more delicate touch to it. Anyway, here we go. That's looking really good. Clean up all around the holes and wait for the grass to grow. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you this video was helpful for you. You learned something. I know this was my first time doing this type of job or doing a fence, but it's similar to a lot of other projects that I've done. For instance, even putting in your posts for your decks and whatnot. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and if you like this, click like and subscribe and share. Thanks. Bye for now.